What's the motherfucking deal? Hold on, let me see. I think we catch a little bit of feedback here. Hold on 1 second. Oh shit. Oh. Sorry about that. Give me 1 second. Had a little bit of technical difficulty. Trust me, I wouldn't have wanted to hear how it was sounding there for a second. Give me just a second. Make sure everything's back copacetic. But what's the motherfucking deal, man? Welcome to Saw Sports. If you're not familiar with Saw Sports is a Houston, Texas homer network. So that means we're talking all sports, but only Houston. With that being said, we're going to discuss a couple of things happening in the city tonight. We're going to talk about the mind of Morey. We're going to talk about the release of Jeff Allen. We're going to talk about a little bit about Bregman in the home run derby. I'm going to say there's plenty to talk about: Astros, Rockets, and of course the Texans. I know that's what y'all love the most. But before we get into all that, man, we got to do the thing first and foremost, the most important thing every stream that we can do, and that is show love, man. Because the fact that you take the time to show some love and stir up some sauce, stir up some flavor with the motherfucking me sauce. I appreciate that. We appreciate that. And we'll have some guests on here. I think we just have some little bit of technical difficulties. We'll get all that together. But first, that is the roll call, man. And if you're not familiar with the roll call is basically our way of showing a little bit of love, man. So if you are from the city of Houston, man, look, shout out your side with pride. Let us know where to send that love. If you're not from the city, and you got to let us know where you're from, you know, your hood, block, avenues, cul-de-sac, street, circle, you know what I'm saying, neighborhood. Some of y'all might live in a gated community. Community. I don't even know what the fuck that is. I'm gonna learn to speak a little bit of English today. But again, like I say, man, the least that we can do is just send some love in your direction. Let me see. I think we haven't. Let me see what the issue is on this. I think we might have lost our guest. We should have man up, and I believe Wink on this evening, but we'll see. We may have had some difficulties, but we'll get the roll call in, and while we get the roll call in, we'll get all that worked out the proper way. So let's see who we got in here, and let's send some love in the proper directions, and we will go from there. All right, here is the deal. Nathan King, what's the motherfucking deal? Heidi Kleindienst, Diamond TK Banks, what's the motherfucking deal? Man Up, what's the motherfucking deal? Ed Man, what's the motherfucking deal? And it is fucking Friday. Yes, I forgot to advertise that. Can't forget a fucking Friday. Ed Man is definitely on his fuck everybody's. The ATL family, I see you. Dr. Rabbit, what's the motherfucking deal? Zachariah, what's the motherfucking deal? 335, holding it down already. Let's see. Lazarian, what's the motherfucking deal? Northeast Houston representing already. Hector Rodriguez, what's the motherfucking deal? Tony Tex, always good to see you, man. Okay. Look, we need to make a play. AA, what's the motherfucking deal? Unique, always good to see you. I hope everything was well yesterday evening with the power and all that was going on. So I hope that everything was okie dokie. Yes, happy 713 day to everybody. Kyle, Texas, Tomball, Texas in the motherfucking house already. Recoleta, Buenos Aires already. Baytown of Dirty Bay representing already. H-Town, hold it down. A-Leaf, oh, there you go with that. See, I tell you, you ATL, you know you Atlanta to the bone, downtown Atlanta, real family. Gulfport, Mississippi already, man. I appreciate that from down south. The slum, east side I-10. No, GTA still going live. People still playing very, very actively on that. Daniela Messenger, H-Town Fine, it's good to see you, man. Let me make sure I ain't missing nobody here. Let me see, make sure everybody look. If you're in here early, you got to get your love, man. That's the only way to do it. Let me see. Clean dentist. I mean, hey, clean dentists are the best dentists. You could always go to a dirty dentist. Southwest representing. And for those of you who are ckin fans, I'll have some, I guess, pretty good news. I guess good news. It's not bad news. Clarence, what's the motherfucking deal, man? Already good to see you. Good to see you as always. So like I say, if you're a fan of the Kush Den, we'll have some good news for the den. Let me see what's going on with me and my guest here, and try to get this situation properly resolved, and we'll get that back in action. So first and foremost, I want to discuss a situation with Daryl Morey. And we got a slight glimpse into the mind of Daryl Morey today. If you got a chance to catch the Colin Cowherd, yes, I said it deliberately like that, show, then, he had about a 10-minute interview with Daryl Morey. And, Morey spoke on some things and didn't speak on a lot of things, which I guess there are rules and regulations. He doesn't want to be a Magic Johnson, I'm sure, and, violate the rules and get caught up tampering and all those other things. So, there's some things he didn't mention. I think Cowherd was trying to bait him into some of that shenaniganery. But he just kind of talked about Melton. He spoke, about Ariza, and he's like, there's no hard feelings with Ariza or anything like that. Let me see here if y'all want to rerun that there. Hold on 1 second. And so, like I say, he said there's no hard feelings with Ariza. It was just a situation where. Okay, give me 1 second. And hold on. Give me 1 second to get us back active here. All right, let me see what. Let me hold on 1 second here. All right, there we go. All right, y'all, I apologize. Okay, there. Now we should be back. We should be back in action now. We should be back in action. There we go. All right, man. Welcome back, man. What's the motherfucking deal? Okay, sorry about that. We had a little bit of slight technical difficulty, but hey, as long as we stay persistent, we're gonna get everything right, man. Welcome, man, up to the sauce, man. It's always good to have man up in the mix. How you doing this evening, man? Up?
I can't complain, man. Sorry about the hiccup. I don't know what happened there. It kicked me out for some reason.
Okay, man. Man, it happens. We all good. Like, as long as you're back and we back on track. I was just saying, and I don't know if you had a chance to check it out, but we were discussing that, Morey had a decent little interview on Colin Cowherd, and he just talked about a couple of things, and I thought it was very interesting, to kind of get into his mind. And he spoke on analytics and sometimes how, analytics are not the end all be all. He made brief mention of, like, Gerald Green, and he was like how Gerald Green wasn't necessarily analytically compatible to what the Rockets did, but Green had, again, analytically, I guess, if you're on that, his best year, with the Rockets. And so, he says that sometimes people don't really take into account, they just look at numbers, and that's not the full scale of analytics, that there are details that go inside of it as far as, the system, the coaching, what is asked of a player, the role and the responsibility. And so there's a lot of little nuances. And that's why I try to tell people, like, I don't really give a shit about stats because, excuse me, they can be manipulated in any kind of way. And so I don't know if you got a chance to catch the interview, but if you did you, what was the most interesting thing that caught your attention from what Morey was talking about?
Well, when I was watching the interview, the most thing I caught my attention. I had to keep in mind when he was talking about Trevor Ariza. Mm-hmm. And to me personally, yeah, that hurt it that he left, that Trevor Ariza left. I'm not gonna lie, it hurt it. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, go get your money. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna get your money. And the Rockets, I think, was going to offer him, I think, 8 million or something like that, or something like that. I forget exactly the amount.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he went to a losing franchise, but he's getting 15 million, and he know his career is almost over, so he's getting what he can.
Yeah.
And I can't knock the guy for that. I just don't like it, but I can't knock him for that. So but I did hear about him speak on Gerald Green,
Okay.
and what Morey said about Gerald Green, to me, he was right. You can't sit here and just measure numbers all the time. Sometimes what you do on the court, on the field, whatever it may be, doesn't always show up on the stat sheet. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like making someone change their shot. You know what I'm saying? When you're going up for a block, making them change their shot. It's not going to count as a block because you didn't actually block it, but you made them work harder for their shot.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So I'm saying. So, but I kind of agree with Morey on this. You got to be smart about it because Magic Johnson, the league is looking to Magic Johnson, see if he anything like that. Not time to, but broke the rules and anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just trying to be careful.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to be. You have to be. Now, you said something about, too, when he was talking about analytics and things that don't show up. He was talking about what he feels like is still lacking in the analytical department is that he doesn't feel as though defense is properly measured. And I think that's true, and it goes right in hand with what you said about, altering shots and challenging shots and things like that makes it just a little bit more difficult to account for those kind of things. Because, again, I think some of that is – speculation. Some of that is opinion. And I see some people talking about, look, y'all letting the national media, they're unique. Don't let the national media get you. Don't let them get you. Because here's the thing, again, you had two of the most efficient players in the league in Harden and CP3. Capella will be back. It's no worry. Like I said, the Rockets are going to match whatever. To me, I want to speak on Capella for just a second because we've talked about, the contract that he was offered, and I've talked about it with a couple of folks, and I would definitely love to get your opinion on this. Capella's contract, it was rumored that he was initially offered 5 years, $85 million. So that's, a little over 15 a year, something like that. Well, close to, but 17, 18 year, maybe close to something like that. My offhand math is not the best. But how do you feel? Do you feel like that was a deserving contract from him, or do you think he's being greedy? Do you think he's looking at some other players around the league and thinking he's worth that, or is he trying to price himself long term that he feels like he's going to continue to get better and maybe he feels that's an undervalued price? What do you think was going through the mind of Capella when he denied that initial contract offer?
Well, the first one was $60 million for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
He turned that down. Then the Rockets said, okay, 85 for 5 years. Now, to answer your question, I'm going to say I don't think he was being greedy. Because you mentioned this before on one of your previous videos, and you kind of opened my eyes to it because I didn't even think about this until you said it. He's looking down that bench and seeing Ryan Anderson getting $40 million just sitting on the damn bench for busting his ass. His stock is constantly rising. Some big money too. So that's what he's looking at.
Okay.
Now, I'm not gonna say he's not looking at other players on other teams. I don't know, but I know for sure he got to be looking at Ryan Anderson. And then, me personally, this is what I would have done. I also think he's looking at Chris Paul as well, too. This is what I would have done if I was there more. I would say, look, Chris, I'm going to offer you 100, and I'm going to offer Capella 100. Because Chris is on his way out the door. Clint just walked in the door, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I would say, look, Chris, you took us far to a place that we haven't been in a long time since we won it. This is what I'm going to offer you. In order for us to bring back the team that we had, look, I can't give you this 182. But at first, Chris wanted a 200 contract. I would say, look, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to offer this, and then I'm going to offer everybody else this to try to keep that same team intact. Okay. So I'm looking at Clint Capella, and I'm not saying he's greedy. A lot of people won't say he's greedy because $100 million, that's a lot of money, blah, blah, blah. I don't think so. When you playing sports, you don't know when your last day is coming.
That's true.
So that's what people got to think too. People get hurt on playing these games, playing these sports. We look at it just a game. This is a livelihood for people. So that's why I say I don't think he's being greedy. I'm putting it like that.
Okay. I can definitely agree with that. How do you stop? But here's another thing. Like I say, you talk about that. You look at, and again, like I say, you look at CP3, you look at Rhino, and you feel like, hey, well, apparently there's money to be thrown around. But then we lose critical pieces like Ariza and Luke. Now I have a question because Ariza went on a 1-year deal, and in that interview, Morey said, hey, there's no hard feelings. There's, he still has a guy. He says he has love for Houston. What do you think the likelihood would be of Ariza returning to Houston after this season?
Well, I would like that idea. And what the likelihood of it is, I would think he'll come back. I think that'd be highly. If to keep playing, I'm gonna put it like that. If he's going to keep playing, and the Rockets throw him a contract or throw him an offer next offseason, I think he'll take it and come back. Okay. I think it will.
Okay. Yeah, because that's something I found. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Now, my bad. Now, I am going to say, I'm Heidi talking about man up hat hair. That was years ago, Heidi. That was years ago. But anyway, now, if he do come back, let's just go throw that. Now I wonder how he'd be accepted in that locker room. Okay. That's a question I got for you.
That's a very interesting question. I think that players understand because he mentioned, the league is very small. It's a small fraternity, maybe about 400 people, at any given time playing on all these teams combined. So people are very familiar with one another. I don't think that Ariza left on bad grounds. I feel like, they realize, hey, you got to get paid. You know what I'm saying? You got to get your money. And so I don't think they'll be mad at him for getting as much as he could. And then, if he came back and he's going to come back and contribute, then, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think as long as he if he does or doesn't come back, I don't think there will be any hard feelings for him. Got a question on the sauce line. Again, y'all can text the sauce line all episode. We'll open up the sauce line for calls towards the end. But this one says, have a question for Man Up. Should Morey sign Daniel House? He has looked really good in Summer League and could be a nice replacement for Luke Mbamute.
I would say, I'm trying to think before I answer that question. I'm trying to think. I know that NFL has it, but don't the NBA have like a practice squad?
I'm not sure exactly. I think it's more like I don't know if that is if they use that with the G League or not. I'd have to let me write that down to definitely take a look at it. I believe there's something like it. I don't know if it counts towards the roster or not, but I think it's more so a G League type deal. I don't know how that works.
Well, that's what I would sign him to. Make sure he gets developed. Mm-hmm. Now, he might be ready now to answer that question. What do I think Morey? I'm gonna go ahead and answer that question. Do I think Morey should do it? Yes, but on a skeptical basis, if that makes sense. Okay. I want to make sure this is what you want to do long term. Mm-hmm. Offer him like maybe a 1-year deal, or if they still do it, those 10-day contracts and shit like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If they still do that,
yeah.
And then go from there on what you see or what you like or whatever.
Okay.
So to answer your question, yes, but on a skeptical basis.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, I like what I've seen from House myself, but again, it is Summer League against guys with limited experience, a lot of 1-2 year guys, getting a chance to showcase their skills against other guys. So I'm not gonna let that influence me too much, but I think I like more from what I'm seeing from Melton being, again, a rookie who hasn't played in over a year, with the whole deal. Now, that's one thing I want to give credit to the Rockets for not being like the Texans, because Melton had a little bit of a scandal behind him, but they didn't let that be something that prevented them for taking a look to him, because he can be an asset to the team. Had this been a Texans pick, of course, we'd have just overlooked that. Chandler says, what's up, Chandler? Always good to hear from you, Chandler. Says, should we bring back Jeremy Lin for a backup spot? I've heard this. This floating around a little bit. And you probably on the same page that I'm on. Oh, the bank ain't open. My bad. I apologize, y'all. We had some little technical difficulties, technicalities earlier. But again, should we bring back Jeremy Lin? Your thoughts on that?
Well, right now we can't. Well, right now I'm gonna say we can, because he just signed with the Brooklyn Nets, I think it was. So no. But to answer your question, my personal opinion, no, because he wasn't that good of an asset in the first place. Okay. Now he could have developed more. I haven't been paying attention to him since he left, but he could have developed more and gotten a little better. Don't know. But saw before, I'm just gonna say no. Okay. I got a question for you, Honcho.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I saw this on my news feed. What do you think about the Rockets trying to, or I don't say trying, but looking into Nick Young?
Oh, man. I'm going to be honest, man. I'm going to be honest. Unless he was a high-level athlete like, we're crossing sports here, LT or Mad Max or some of those other guys who may have been they may have been cocaine connoisseurs, because Swaggy P, as whatever he likes to call himself, he's the proponent of pushing the powder. I don't want, I don't care if I don't have no problem with motherfuckers smoking weed. I don't really have an issue with that. But cocaine is a little bit it's a hell of a drug. And the fact that he's pro legalization for it tells me that he has an affinity for the booger sugar, and I think that could eventually lead to being a problem. And so I would rather not entertain that again. But I say, looking at his stats, career, I think like 38% from three. With what we do, he could be a contributor. As long as his nose ain't running all over the floor and creating a hazard for anybody to slip on and all that other stuff. But if there were better options out there, I would like to pursue them. But like I see somebody, when they were talking about Lin, I mean, again, I don't think it's a good move. I would rather not. But how crazy or how much money would the Asian fans of the Rockets spend if they saw a Lin to Zochi alley-oop? I mean, that's all it would take, was just one highlight, and it would be all the way over. That'll be the biggest highlight ever in China. So I don't know if the Rockets looking to bring some more money into the organization. That might be a thing. Yeah, he looked real family, probably on that powder with Nick Young. But here's the thing though. Like I said, here's the thing is, I know the big talk is Melo. I know the rumors are Butler, and Morey kind of mentioned that he didn't name names, and that's what I like the best about it. He was very low key. Another rumored player that we have a lot of attention with is kind of what he said, how he addressed it. And so to me, the fact that he even kind of included that makes me feel like we may be on the Melo train again. Honestly, I have just mixed opinions about Melo, but with what we would be asking him to do here, I feel more confident with, than picking up Ennis. So we've picked up a little bit of defense, because we're going to have something to, when Melo's on the court, we're going to have a more defensive player, because I feel like he's a defensive liability, to kind of pick up some of that slack. But again, you got Tucker, you got guys like that are still around, so I'm not going to count them out. Again, Ennis, solid defender, because he played James pretty well a couple of years ago. I mean, and put some pressure on James. So I like what he brings to the table, and might be a decent shooter. I don't think he's had enough opportunities to score, but I think with the Rockets, that's all going to change. Melo, I know I'm looking forward to if it comes in, if it happens. The big name thing, I always say don't get caught up in the big names, but Look, with what's on the table right now, there aren't too many options. How would you be feeling about Melo? And if you were to consider possibly or Morey trading for Butler, what assets would you think would be wise to give up for Jimmy Butler?
For Jimmy Butler? Ooh, that's a good one.
Because if I'm not mistaken, he just turned down what a 4-year, $110 million deal. Something like that. He just turned it down, and he's been saying that he wants to be traded. And I'm thinking it must be something going on in that organization because Jimmy Butler wants to win, in my opinion. I think he wants to he wants to compete, and he probably doesn't feel like the Wolves are making those moves.
Well, before I answer your question, let me ask you this: do you know how old he is?
Jimmy Butler's like what, 27, 28, I think. I think somewhere around that age.
Okay.
I think something like that.
Now, the reason why I asked that, I'm going to go ahead and answer your question. But the reason why I asked that is because I'm going to be honest, the Wolves are on their way up. So that's why I wonder how old he is. But would I trade for him? Yes. Yes. Now, I saw that report he turned down that money, and I was like, whoa, wow, he really wants to go to a championship team right now or something. I don't know. Or like you said, something's going on behind the scenes. Now, him, I see, what's that, KS857, whatever. How you say that name? Yeah. He said, we need Jimmy and Melo off the bench. Well, Melo already don't want to come off the bench, so that's the reason why he wants to leave Oklahoma. So, so that ain't going to happen. But now, to go ahead and answer your question originally about Melo, last offseason when we were trying to get him, I was more like 50-50, yeah. Then I was like, nah. I kept going back and forth. This year, I'm more like 70%, nah, I'm cool.
Okay.
Now, it could be because of the play that he don't know, but also to, I don't know, I'm just not, I could be wrong, but I'm just not feeling it.
Okay. So you say you're not too high. So you'd make a play for Butler, but you'd rather chill on the Melo move.
It could be an age thing as well too, but at the same time, I'm just thinking Melo as well too, just like Chris Paul is on his way out the door. Didn't them two come in at the same time, him and LeBron?
Yeah,
no.
about the same time.
Yeah.
That still ain't activated.
So I'm just not really digging it, my personal opinion. And I say Heidi said that I signed a $400 million deal with Nike. Hey, I take that, Heidi. Thank you, Heidi. I appreciate that.
If they throwing money around, look, hey, hold up. You say what you thought of DeMarco Murray. Man, that's a very interesting thing. We'll discuss that a little bit towards the end of the stream because I did see that, and I want to get your opinion also on the Shady McCoy situation. But we'll talk about those things, and we'll talk a little bit more football in a minute. Like I say though, the Carmelo thing, and then like I say, I am 50-50, but I guess the fact is. One, I still don't see how we get rid of Rhino. I think that's the big, aka the albatross. That's our biggest hindrance because that's money that's tied up in a guy who's giving you 0% of zero, not even getting on the court. I mean, not even you're paying this guy so much money you can't even play him in the playoffs. He's not been consistent throughout the year. He's only good against the Timberwolves. So I think that becomes a bit of an issue. My thing is, hold on a second. But my thing is that you have a situation with possibly what I'm wondering what Jimmy Butler's situation is if it's possibly Wiggins, because a lot of people sit here and say that Wiggins doesn't play hard. A lot of people say that Wiggins is just kind of lackadaisical, and so I'm wondering if that's an issue that he has with the T-Wolves with Butler. And then, like I say, my issue with Melo is mainly defense. But at this point, I'd almost be willing to take either one of them because we don't have to worry about Melo ever being trigger shy because he's always going to pull the trigger no matter what. You know what I'm saying? And you have that. You seem to have that situation with Anderson just taking up that bench spot.
Well, there was a rumor that the Rockets were going to try to buy out Ryan Anderson's contract just to get him off the books. So I don't know how that's going to happen, if it's going to happen, when, or whatever. But I did see that report that the Rockets was trying to buy him out. He got what, 40 years? Not 40 years. Oh my God. Got 40 million.
That would be the worst.
I think he got 40 million left on his deal. So, if I'm not mistaken, I think I saw something where the Rockets going to try to buy him out for 30, 35 to get him off the book. So we'll see what happens with that, because.
I mean, you almost have to, because either way, it's like, you know, he's taking up space and he's not contributing, so the money is a waste. You know what I mean? So it's more worthwhile, it seems like, to buy him out and kind of get that out of there. But I still, with the buyout, if I'm not mistaken, some of that still does count against your cap, right?
Yeah, not all of it, but yeah, some, I forgot what percentage, but yeah, some of it does count towards the cap still.
Okay.
What's good, fellas?
Not the whole thing.
What's going on?
Mr. Wayne, there you go.
We're good, man. I just got back from this little festival, man. It was a little late. I was trying hitting you up on the DM on what's it called, my damn phone had died.
Okay.
On Instagram.
Okay. But like I say, so with that, let's slide over to a little bit of the other conversation. Now, briefly, I know we got some Astros fans in here. I know that we have some folks who are excited about the All-Star game coming up here in a couple of days. I know Bregman will be in the home run derby, so that's definitely something that we'll be paying attention to, because I believe he leads the Astros with like 19 homers right now, or something like that. And so that should be very interesting.
Somebody keep whamming them hoes out of the park.
And so that's definitely going to be a good look for Houston. And like I said, I'm starting to see that Houston is getting a lot more love. I guess when you win, you know, people start coming out the woodworks, because Altuve, he was the leader in the AL, if I'm not mistaken, as far as all-star votes. And, you know, it's rare to see Houston, even when James was basically the MVP since midseason, he wasn't getting that kind of love in the NBA. So I think it's when you bring them championships, when you're a part of those winning teams, people's perceptions start to change, you know. And actually, I wanted to speak, man, that's something I want to speak on before we get into the football conversation, because we were talking about Morey and what he was saying. And that was a very good point that I wanted to talk about, being in the mind of Morey, where he mentioned, you know, that dominant teams, you know, it's basically like the NBA's been like this forever. So, you know, the Warriors being a dominant team, it's nothing new. You know, talked about the Bulls, he talked about the Celtics, he talked about the Lakers, and these teams all having their runs. And he said it's only been, 10 or 13 teams that have actually really won championships. But what he talked about was the underdog story. And when a dominant team gets upset, and he kind of mentioned, you know, how we were up on 3-2, and, you know, then the world started paying attention, that, you know, does that show to you that he has a mentality of he's going to try to compete no matter what? Or how does that make you feel about what he's going to try to do with the Rockets? Does that seem like it kind of inspires you? Because I see a bunch of people saying, oh, you know, we've lost hope, it's over with. But with him saying, you know, he loves a good underdog story, to me, in my mind, it makes it seem as though he's going to do whatever it takes, even if it, you know, he's got to pull some strings, and he wants to do whatever it takes. I mean, if he's got to lose some players, if he's got to overpay a little bit, you know, or sometimes a lot of bit. But I like that mentality. How do you feel about that?
I mean,
I'm gonna put it. Oh, go ahead, Wayne. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying, I mean, you got to do what you got to do, man. I mean, in terms of the shit, we're seeing what other teams are doing and why they're winning. They're buying these championships. Do what you got to do in rosters to compete. We know we only a play away. You know, a couple of plays go our way. I mean, that's really all it's going to take. It's just some luck to finally be on our side. And with the right players in the right mix, fitting in, you doing what you do. Because I'm pretty sure as long as Capilla is locked up, we can pretty much did last year, because teams are still going to be the same. Boogie and him going to Golden State was a bitch move in terms of the league, but he's not guaranteed to stay healthy. So we got to look at it like that. I mean, everybody has luck, and some of the best teams' luck finally end up running out. So I'm gonna end up, and I'm gonna be a little bit more along the lines of that road. when it comes to like Golden State. And when it comes to Daryl Morey, I'm ready for him to pull the trigger and bring somebody in that we deserve to have on this roster. You know, I like what he's been doing with the defensive side, so at least we know he's been taking care of that. Now we got to take care of the part. We need some big men. We need some guys to play the four. You know what I'm saying? We need to lock Capella up and stop dragging your feet. You know what I'm saying? Because only gonna put us at a standstill, and we'll be continuing. It'll always be a continuing thing of the Houston Rockets not being taken seriously because of moves like this.
Okay.
You know, I'm sorry.
No,
I can kind of agree. I agree with you a little bit right there when you were talking about locking up Capella, because you are right. I think we should have locked him up first before we locked up Chris Paul.
Right.
Now, also too, and adding on this here too, my personal opinion, and I did a video about this before, I think we as Rockets fans, because I see a lot of Rockets fans, oh man, Boogie's DeMarcus Cousins signs with the Warriors, oh man, that's a whole move, blah, blah, blah. I agree, it is a whole move. But guess what? If you are a Rockets fan, Texans fan, Astros fan, Arrows, whatever, fan of Houston sports, my personal opinion, we need to focus on that. Yeah, they making moves. Every team who wins makes moves. Man, the Bulls make moves and signing Tony Kukoc and Dennis Rodman and all that. Teams gonna make moves. Now if we want to win, we gotta match those moves or make even better moves. And that's what I'm more worried about. I'm not worried about that. We shouldn't be worried about them. My personal opinion. So, and when he signed, I watch Honcho streams. I've seen people on all these other shows or whatever, talking about we ain't gonna win now. Oh, they did this, they did that. Look, we had a horrible shooting night in Game 7. Yeah, there was some questionable non-calls and some questionable calls that happened, and we still only lost that game by 9 points. Mm-hmm. They still barely beat us. Mm-hmm. So come on. What more do you want? And then we was without Chris Paul, who helped us get there. Exactly. So with all that being said, I think we as Rockets fans need to focus on the Houston Rockets. We don't need to focus on the Oklahoma City Thunder, the San Antonio Spurs, the Golden State Warriors, none of them. Only us.
I can agree with what you sent up to, I can agree with truly for the most part of what you're saying. But for me, a certain level of pessimism has to go towards what you see going on around the league, because getting stronger and some of our strongest assets have it's and in recent seasons he's been in the season and still have $117 million on your plate left. No reason why Capella and a couple other moves couldn't have been made, and why more free agents have been more attracted to after how we just lost, when everybody knows that just a couple of plays, because even outside of the shit that went on with the refs and the shots, we were in the game and we could have won that game, man.
Yeah. Now here's my deal. Here's why I'm gonna disagree with y'all on one thing, and that is I don't feel like Capella should have been first. I'm glad that they sealed the deal with CP3 only because of this reason. We've seen what Harden and Capella are together. That's a second round team. CP3 was the factor that pushed us to the Western Conference Final, that pushed the Warriors to the brink until he got hurt. Now, I know everybody talks about his injury, and I know everybody's, he wasn't available. It doesn't matter. Had he not played all season, we don't get to that point. We end up being the exact same team that we were.
Getting locked up personally.
Yeah, I mean he's gonna get. I mean he's locked up either way. No matter what happens, he's locked up because as far as even if it's only for this next year or if they sign him to a long term, we at least have him for one more year. And by that time, hopefully everybody's favorite Chinese player Zhou Qi is available and ready to ball because he's starting to stretch out. Maybe they have to find some way to leverage him at between the 4 and the 5 a little bit. Maybe they can put a little bit of weight on him or something. But right now, like I say, Capella's deal is I know he wants to get paid. I know he wants to see the big money because, again, like I say, 5 and 85 doesn't sound too bad. I mean, going from making, 2 or 3 million a year, if that, to going to making, 17 to 18 million a year, I understand. And again, like I say, I'm not ever knocking a player about getting his money. But then at the same time, you have to look at how he was eating and why he was eating so well. And who was allowing those things to happen? Again, it was Lob City 2.0 between Harden and CP3. Opening and getting that attention is what opened him up and allowed him to eat so much. You take that away, then people say, okay, well we can play on Capella. We can do some things with him. And I'm not knocking the fact because he played excellent in the earlier 2 rounds of the playoffs. When it came to the Western Conference Finals, got exposed a little bit. He wasn't really relevant as much as he was when he was going against Gobert and when he was going against Karl Anthony Towns. So I think that honestly, I like I say, I love Capella. I want to see Capella in a Rockets uniform, but at the same time, I think Capella has to understand where he's eating, why he's eating, and I wouldn't. I mean, you can't be too mad at that offer. The 4 for 60, I can understand, but for I'd take the couple more and I'd run with that. But go ahead.
Yeah.
Let me say this here real quick, though. You right that Capella was eating because of Harden and CP3, but at the same time, he was eating on the defensive end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's been times that he'll get 2 or 3 blocks, just like Akeem Olajuwon used to do in 1%.
Yeah.
So he was eating. That's the reason why I say we should have locked him up first. It wasn't just that he was eating because of Harden and CP3. He was making a lot of these people that are trying to go to the back. He was making them eat their own shots.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So
and I'll say,
so that's the reason. That's another reason why.
Okay.
And to add on to what Man Up is saying, we can't afford. I mean, the fact that we already using good power forwards like Reza, like we can't afford to be in a situation where the 4 and 5 spots for us are weak. How that? Because we need rim protection. We need the boundary being taken out. We need that 7 to 15 foot range taken care of because game, man, like when you really go back and you look at the game getting abused in certain portions of that part of the the field, and you just can't allow that. I mean, Gordon was doing everything he could. Tucker was doing everything he could. Ariza was doing everything he could. Capella and Harden were doing everything they could. Shots weren't landing. Wasn't a night that night. That part I understand. The shooters, not worried about. Adding a shooter like with what Gordon and Tucker can do, along with Harden, that's already going to be nice in itself. But rim protection, a lot more players that could add to the defense, and having a guy like Jalen Green, having him back to be a good role player is a good thing for us. But I think it's paramount for us to go ahead and make sure that we bring in another 4, somebody solid that can do a little bit of everything. You don't really want him to be too defensive, all defensive, and he can't shoot at all, because shit like that is gonna end up costing us when it's the end of the games, and you don't need dudes getting hacked going to the free throw line, bricking shots, and then we got to fight to get the ball back to to score points and shit like that. Shit like that, we can't have that. We can't have that.
Okay, and I agree with Darren and with a couple of points that some folks have made in there, saying the thing is though, offensively, at the rim, Capella gives you that, but you got to see around the league, a lot of these bigs can shoot now. A lot of these bigs have a little bit more range, and that's where his game lacks. And he's getting the benefit of working with Akeem, and he's developing in the post. And we saw a lot of that. We saw his little Swiss step that he got, that he's added to his game. But at the same time, when you're not necessarily a threat, in any other aspect of the game, I think that's part of the reason why the offer would maybe a little bit limited in his eyes. You know, those type of bigs, you know, that was solid for the 90s, but this is a brand new game. You know, Karl Anthony Towns, he can damn near stretch you to the three, and he can hit you a couple of threes. I see they mentioned Zochi, and he can stretch you out, you know, but I know everybody loves EQ, but it is what it is. Hartenstein, I see what's his name saying Hartenstein's trash, but anyway, stop. Hartenstein is going to be solid. He's going to be, I'm not saying he's going to come out and be a MVP this year, but he's going to be a solid off the bench guy, I think, initially, and then I think he's going to work his way into a starting role because the kid can ball. Hartenstein can hoop. And then, like I say, you know, somebody asked on the sauce line, do I think that Melton is going to be the PG of the future behind Chris Paul? It's a good possibility because he's shown that a lot of the knock on him was that he couldn't shoot. But shit, in the summer league, that boy been draining. He went 25, 10, and 5 the other day. You know, so the kid is and we talk about Morey a lot, but Morey knows how to find little gems because I felt like Hartenstein was a gem that he found, and we'll have to see how he does against the big boys. But he played some great defense. He's looking decent in the summer league. He's had a couple of injuries, so he hasn't played I know a game or two. And then, like I say, with Melton, he was off a lot of people's radars. Had he not had that scandal, he could have probably possibly been a top 10 pick. And so I felt like Morey got him for a value when a lot of people didn't want to touch him. Oh, he couldn't shoot. He couldn't do this. I think Morey knows how to find things that other people overlook. Now, he may go out and overvalue some things. But, again, like finding Gerald Green when he got it for 1.5. Yeah. A lot of people feel like he overvalued Chris Paul. And like I say, it's neither here nor there. But if you wanted to retain Chris Paul, you're going to have to pay like you weigh. Because Chris Paul's mentality, like he tells everybody else.
I honestly say he didn't. I would honestly say in his last contract, not only does he deserve it, but look at the impact he made. He's never had this impact on no team that he's played with thus far. No team that he's been a part of, he went 42-5 with. Like, he's serious. Like, anybody out here saying that Chris Paul got overpaid and this like that, okay, let's see how many of them games. Let us have missed half of the season or let us miss the majority of the season. When Chris Paul went out early, when we started losing games right after, I wasn't watching much of basketball at that point in time, but when I would catch it and see a game and see when we was losing, because I would still check up on the Rockets to see their progress, what they were doing. Even though I wasn't an avid I'm not avid at watching basketball on a normal basis. But we were losing like a motherfucker before he came back when he missed out on those 20 games. And the moment he came back, look at what we were doing.
I wouldn't say we were really losing like that. Because here's the thing. All in all, if you really look at it, Chris Paul gave us, 10 more wins. And now I don't know if you want to equate that to $40 million a year. But again, it was a much more efficient game. What I look at is Chris Paul made us a much more efficient team, had us as one of the highest rated offenses of all time at one point, and it kind of lagged off towards the end of the year. Things kind of got a little bit slow, so we ended up being like number 2 or whatever the fuck it was. But
I won't even just say that. I'll say he give us more than that considering what he did for us in the playoffs. We only lost with Chris Paul. With Chris Paul, honestly, we only lost 4 games in the playoffs. Think about what I just said. In the playoffs, we only lost 4 games.
I want to agree with Wink a little bit. See, and I know we kind of on this topic a little bit too much, but people got to look at it like this. Yes, he's an older player. Yes, he has a lot of injuries. But guess what? He did the almost, not the same, but almost the same thing with Tracy McGrady. And he was known to have a lot of injuries as well.
Yep.
And look what the excitement that he brought back to Houston when we traded for him.
Yep.
So a lot of people forget that. And then just look at it, like Wink just said too early. Look at what Wink just said a few seconds ago. All the teams that he played on, Chris Paul that is, never had this kind of excitement. He has never reached this far in the playoffs.
Okay, but now here go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish your thought, and I'm gonna put my point on that.
Okay, and we have not reached this far in the playoffs since we won it. So you gotta.
I mean, we went to the Western Conference Finals a couple of years ago, but even
I know, but we didn't. We won one game. Close. Yeah, we won one game.
But that's my thing right there. So is that a product of Chris Paul, or is that a product of Paul teaming up with Harden? Because Harden's been there, he's taken it there. Chris Paul's never been there with none of the teams that he's been on. So that's Chris Paul.
Paul was the general, but at the end of the day, this is a team that benefited him more. This was a scheme that benefited him as a pure basketball player. He was the floor general. Everybody knew, and at the end of the day, everybody's game. He elevated Harden to a true MVP. He elevated Capella as to a point to where he's being valued across the league. He elevated Tucker, Ariza, Gordon, everybody, and we saw the benefits of him being on the floor versus him not being on the floor, and we lost because of.
Yeah, that's why
I can't give him the credit. I can't give him the credit for Harden, because Harden should have had 3 or 4 MVPs by this point already. But it allowed that people to start paying attention, because people, they'll start watching the teams with 2 or 3 stars, because Harden has been in the conversation for years without, CP3's presence. Now, he did contribute more so to the team as a whole, but I won't just necessarily say that his addition to Harden.
Like this, Honcho, will be without Chris Paul. Without Chris Paul doing what he did in the playoffs and giving us that extra grit that we didn't have before he got here, I guarantee you that Western Conference Finals looked exactly like it did 2 to 3 years ago when we played them in the West Conference Finals. Exact same thing.
I agree.
We do not close out no close games or none of that without Chris Paul.
I agree with that. But my thing ultimately, like I said, was to retain his services, because Chris Paul preaches to any and everybody. So everybody who's upset about him getting paid so much is that he tells everybody take the max contract. These owners got money. So if anybody was expecting Chris Paul to return for less than a solid amount of money, you definitely were fooling yourself, because like I say, he tells, he's the president of the Players Association, so he's basically telling everybody, he tells everybody, get your money. For him to go out and not get his money would be hypocritical, or it would be disingenuous, because he's telling you to go get your, well, I'm gonna take less so I can. You couldn't have expected that. So I knew whatever was gonna happen, no matter what, he was gonna get paid.
Well, it's another way to look at that. Not necessarily, Honcho. I wouldn't say hypocritical. He's made $100 million contracts elsewhere. He was doing that in LA. He was making a good amount of money when he was in New Orleans. So it's not like money, and then we ain't even talk about the endorsements and Allstate and all this other shit. Like, we're not gonna act like Chris Paul ain't paid. I don't fault him for getting that bread. And no real man does. Only a broke ass person would count somebody else's money and be worried about what he made. Because I'm happy for him.
Hold on, Wayne. Look at comments if you can see it. Mr. Caleb B said it perfectly. If you ask me, he just said it perfectly. I can't lie. When Harden had his meltdown, CP3 was there to save us a couple of times.
Man, and we ain't even talking about how he made Steph look in the playoffs. Steph looked horrible. Yeah. Period. Yep. Before Game 6 and before Game 7, Steph was looking like a motherfucking peon. And when and then when he hit that, when he went up and he hit that shot and he went down the floor and he was shimmying, and Steph couldn't do nothing but laugh because he knew he had his number. And he played against Steph long enough in the Western Conference and their division to know, man, I can easily do this, dude. All I need is a team around me, because DeAndre Jordan and fucking Blake wasn't getting it done. And then they had turmoil between him and the coaching staff. So that's an extra added. He don't have no problems with D'Antoni, and they getting that shit done.
Mm-hmm. No, you talking crazy. Talking about Harden needs to take a pay cut. Dude, Harden don't play. We're nowhere in the conversation. Like that's my thing. Like, you take Harden out of the conversation, and we're nowhere. CP3 ain't getting you there by itself. So as much as he is a very beneficial addition, but when we've seen CP3 be in the lead and have to take things on his own, he hasn't gotten there. I think he's like they say 1A and 1B. I think that's the situation that we have going on here. Again, I think it's a combination of all the factors that favor what he has going. Again, Morey and his analytics, D'Antoni and his scheme, and then again, what's his name? And we're bringing the defense. I forget the coach's name. And like I said,
then we had great role players.
Exactly. And so
like everybody played their part. Everybody did.
Exactly.
See, and this is another thing people don't give CP3 credit for. He turned down $200 million. Turned down like maybe $100 or so million from the Spurs and the Utah Jazz as well to come and play. I think it was like 15, 20 million this past season for the Rockets. He turned all that down, and the reason why he did that, he wanted Eric Gordon to come. No, PJ Tucker. I'm sorry. to come today. So he kind of helped the Rockets as well too to get even more players for that one season. See, a lot of people are not thinking about that. Now, I still say, would I give him all of that money? Probably not that much, but I'm not gonna sit here and say he don't deserve it. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna say he don't deserve that money, but a lot of people forget there's a lot of factors in what Chris Paul gave up to come to Houston on that 1-year deal.
Yeah, that's true.
You have to take that into play as well.
Okay. Very interesting. So here, what we're going to do, we're going to jump off this for a second. We're going to touch on a little bit of football, and then we'll open up the sauce line for a couple of calls. Jeff Allen got released. What does that say about what the Texans have going on with that offensive line?
Me personally, I was just on Texans Palace about over an hour ago talking to him, and me and him were chopping it up because somebody had asked him in the comment section, like, what does this do? This shit ain't really a good look. I understand we're saving $6.2 million, but what is it benefiting us to have $6.2 million when Whitney Merciless ain't got no extension, Kareem Jackson is still on the fucking roster, and Jadeveon Clowney ain't got no contract before Khalil Mack or Aaron Donald. So, and not only that, you have to replace what he brings to the table. And if he plays on the left side of the fucking field like he's supposed to, versus playing on the right side trying to be a road grader, which Xavier Su'a-Filo was supposed to be doing on a consistent basis, how does it? I mean, you're weakening the interior that was supposed to be bolstered up. And you're going to be just relying on Clemente and Fulton, two guys that are from prior franchises, and everybody that we've ever got from any other franchise. Before we got Jeff Allen, he was the number one left guard, passing guard in the league before we got him when we paid him $22 million. Then somehow we got duped by the Chiefs again into getting Zach Fulton when he was like one of the number one passing guards in the league. So now we got a guard that's coming in on the right side with Senio Clemente, who spells in for whoever the Saints have, and it's not hard for him to look good with the Saints when Drew Brees throws the ball back real quick and he doesn't really have the athleticism that Watson is going to have, and he's not going to have that type of improvisation. So it's hurting us more than it's helping us. I know it's going to be some people out here that celebrate him like, yeah, good riddance and all that shit. Yeah, okay. Say that shit now. You say that shit now until fucking Kendall Lamb is in there again because he's still on the team. You know what I'm saying? And you ain't heard nothing about these offensive linemen, and I wouldn't take nobody's advice on any offensive lineman until you see it in game for yourself. Do not worry about preseason. Wait till a game happens. When you see these games pop off, benefits of what it would have been to have had Jeff Allen on the appropriate side for his skill level, then the tackle situation is going to look even worse than it did last year, and that's all I got to say about it right now.
All right, but what if that injury is worse than it was, and he's not going to be able to contribute for a while? So you're going to be spending some money with this.
Well, that I understand.
So what if that's the main factor, or what if they see, they looking at Clemente and they looking, okay, well, these guys are just as serviceable, or like I say, Fulton. I know we already talked about the Madden rating, but he was the highest. Well, he was an 81, so they had some favor for him on there. So what if they're seeing what they may be seeing something they like, say, okay, well, he's expendable, he's not going to be available for a while, it's not going to be worthwhile what we be having to spend to keep him around. I mean, in the long run, what if that money ends up eventually going to Clowney? I mean, is it a worthwhile move then?
Yeah, but it has to happen. It has to happen like now. I mean, we already sitting on like 34, 35 million right now. With 6.2 million that we get back from Jeff Allen in this move, that puts us at like 40 plus. And like more than enough time has passed for these men to get paid. You know what I'm saying? So it was no reason for that move to have happened as early as it did, and moves and contracts were not being put out on the table.
Okay. And what was the injury ultimately that hindered Allen? Like I said, I'm not even familiar with what it was that he got hurt with.
It was probably a knee or ankle injury, some of that nature. I think it's a leg injury. I'll just
Yeah,
say
it
a
was.
leg injury.
Okay.
But I gotta agree with the. I gotta disagree. I'm sorry with the Texans letting him go, because I don't know if y'all been paying attention to a lot of things that I've been saying, but when you got a good dynamic young quarterback like Watson, I think you got to do what you got to do to protect this dude.
Exactly.
Because I'm looking at, I think it was game number 2 or 3, whichever one it was, against Cincinnati. When he took that hit and he flipped over, you don't want this man taking that many kind of hits.
No, not at all.
So you got to do what you got to do to protect this dude. That's why I was kind of
Brian Gaines just don't look like. Yeah.
Oh, my bad. That's why I was kind of upset.
My bad. I messed up. My bad. You keep going.
Nah, yeah. But I was kind of upset a little bit with the draft. I'm like, I know we got some offensive linemen in free agency. I guess this is just how I'm looking at it. You got this guy who's what, 22, 23, something like that. I forget exactly. You seen a big difference from game 1 to game 2 with this dude on the field. This dude go toe to toe with the big stars and Russell Wilson, the quarterback for the Patriots. Can't come on my head right now.
Tom Brady. Tom Brady.
There we go, Tom Brady. You seen this dude go toe to toe with them. Yes, we lost, but you seen him go toe to toe with these guys. Wouldn't you do what you got to do to put some good pieces around him and keep these good pieces around him? That don't make no sense to me. Maybe I'm looking at it wrong. I don't know, but that just make no sense to me.
Okay.
And Brian Gaines, oh yeah, go ahead, Honcho.
Like I say, my big issue is either way. I preach that with the offensive line, you have to have some type of continuity. You got to have some type of cohesion. And at this point, man, they basically went in and revamped everything, and so I can't even use that to stand on for maintaining, because shit, last year there was none. I mean, it was pieces and everything else being put together. Like I say, it's an interesting situation. I think that I'm pretty sure some more details and stuff will come out as to why, but I'm just not sure what it is. Like I'm more concerned that whatever it is, it had to be something that was going to carry over longer into the season. And I mean, I think it's going to be a situation with a lack of availability. Otherwise, why would you let him go, knowing that you really don't have many other options, especially in that interior or shit, really on the, with him being versatile, he could give you a little bit of tackle play, even though I know people talk about the false starts and all that other stuff. I'm just thinking it has to be something bigger than what we just know about, other than just cutting him, because I think that's been something they may have made a move a little bit earlier if that was the case, and to try to free up some money.
And that's the worst part about the sports media. Like, if you have all of this inside knowledge, then why in the fuck are you not giving the fans, the knowledge that we need to know of why men cut? Don't just cut nobody without letting the fans know what the fuck you cut them for. Okay, you want to save some money. That's the only part as a fan that I can understand. You save some money against the cap. And me being the fan that I am, knowing how has done some shit through its past and what Brian Gaines wasn't even willing to do in the draft or in free agency, why am I to believe that this man has an exorbitant amount of money and he's going to know what to do with it when the time comes? And honestly, what indication has he given anybody as a Texans fan for you to be certain that this man is going to know what moves to pull and do this and do that? What, because of the Honey Badger deal? Nothing. That's nothing. He got Honey Badger on a 1-year deal because Honey Badger said he wanted to go to a franchise where dudes had money. He came here for Deshaun Watson. He wanted to play with Jadeveon Clowney. He saw what it looked like up close and personal when we played them in like week 10 or week 11 or whatever week that was when Andre Johnson got, his ring of honor. And act like Brian Gaines is the fucking man now. And this man got all the money in the world, because I could say one thing, and I could say one thing about Rick Smith. Rick Smith never had this kind of money, period.
But ain't that on Rick Smith though? Because of decisions that he's made throughout the years. I mean,
I'm not saying that. I mean, okay, I can understand bad contract, and he was getting better with shit as he went on, but he never had this kind of money to work with in any offseason, with the exception of the 2011 season when he signed key free agents, and we went 11, and we went divisional round, and we went 12-4 the year after that in the process. I mean, so it kind of coincides with one thing, you know. But you know, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna let this man have his time to make sure that he's doing what he's supposed to be doing for the team. Because as of now, about what's supposed to be happening, like, stop fucking talking about it and just make it happen. Like, why are you talking? Get it done already.
My thing is what I feel is like, you know, he's in a damned if you do, damned if you don't position. Because if he came out here and then blows all that money, pulls let's say a move comparable to a Ed Reed or something like that, and then we end up broke, don't have money to retain and maintain as the years go on, then it's, oh, he came in and he fucked up a bunch of money and this, that, and the third. Like I say, it's just kind of, you got to let the man have some time to play out and let the situation see what it is. You know, I think the most important thing, the most important factor that he has under his belt right now is the Clowney situation. I don't know what the holdup is. Okay.
I want to ask you a question, Honcho. Because I want to know, what can he do in your eyes, like, right off the rip, is completely unfucking forgivable? Like, it is no turning back. I need to know this. I want to know what is it going to take, and I want to know from everybody in the chat, and I pose this question to Man Up too. Y'all can go either order. What can Brian Gaine do to fuck up a situation that's just going to be impossible? You will not give him no grease, no nothing.
I hope we don't encounter a situation like that. But at this point, I think he's been too tentative. I don't really know what other options would be out there. Like, if he puts us in a situation right now, the only thing I think he could do to fuck it up is to lose Clowney. Outside of that, I can't think of any other major issues that he has the opportunity to encounter right now at this time. You know, he's missed out on some things, some draft picks. You know, we can't cry over spilled milk about that. But again, like I say, I'm trying to give him his due as a first year guy, really being responsible for having all the reins on him. I just can't. I mean, like I say, losing
Clowney for you, but is losing Clowney for you unforgivable?
Yeah, I think if you have money, if you have the money to do so, and you don't maintain this man, it depends on what he's asking for. They would have to come out. It would have to come out depending on what the money range is. But yeah, losing Clowney would probably be the thing that would be a deal breaker in my book.
Me personally, I'm going to agree with KS857 Art.
That's too much sauce.
To pass up on good tackles or just offensive liners. And I'm also agree with what someone else said in here too as well. Mess up and don't redo Clowney and Watson contract. Because you already know Watson, he's going to get a big contract. I know he's still on his rookie deal. Got like 3 more years or something like that left. So we already know that. But I'm just saying, if those situations came about, then that's when I would be like, what the hell are we doing?
Yeah. And I would agree, like Riff and I say, really having a chance, you know, actually to have a first and a second round pick, and then you go out and you blow those, that would definitely put you on the fucking up radar. So
it's no reason, because there's really no reason this year he should not be hitting on draft picks left and right. He was in a position, honestly, even with the three third rounders we had and the draft picks that we had, honestly, we could have had a phenomenal draft had we got like Ian Thomas. We still could have probably got Ejiofor where we got him, you know, and maybe another tackle besides Rankins, who's already fucking hurt and won't be a contributing factor for who knows when. I was so pumped on this dude because of some college stats. College shit don't mean nothing.
No,
it means absolutely nothing. That shit don't mean. College O-linemen don't mean shit. Man,
I agree with that.
They don't mean a motherfucking thing. They don't have to do much in college, especially with the type of schemes. The schemes that they run in college are so rudimentary. Like, when these dudes get to the big leagues, dudes like Zach Martin, it depends on the type of school. Now, if we're talking about Notre Dame, dudes who run college, pro schemes, like when you're talking about Stanford, when you're talking about, it's a few people from Alabama who have panned out O-lineman wise, but like dudes that's coming from pro schemes, conferences you play on, more often than not, O-linemen are not panning out. And the fact that they don't get the amount of practices and work on technique the way that O-linemen used to be able to work before the CBA changed, O-linemen have been years.
Okay, good question. Though that makes me think of something. So with that CBA, has that hindered the overall play of football? Do you think with the players wanting less practice time and less full pads and all, basically easier practice, do you think that has translated into less quality in the actual games?
It's no position group in the league that is hurt worse than offensive linemen. And any offensive lineman in the league that has ever played, and when you hear the offensive lineman talk about the CBA, there's no group in football that it has hurt worse than offensive linemen, because they need that contact. They need that time to get in, to really mesh and benefit and trust each other. If they don't have trust, and if there's a weak link in the army, it fucks the shit up. And if you don't have the proper quarterback to make plays, to hide what you guys are doing, like Deshaun Watson was doing last year, he can't do that shit forever. Eventually, it's going to catch up to you. And it's hurt these guys. I mean, QBs have pretty much come in and done what they're supposed to do, and a lot of other position groups, you could say probably to a point, is kind of done as a corner, but not really that much. Okay. But definitely O-line.
All right, here's the deal. So I'm going to open up the sauce line for a little bit here, and we'll take a couple of calls if y'all want to call in. Now, Voodoo, I see what you're saying, and almost to a point, I could almost kind of agree with you on that. It's a dangerous area, but what I'd have to see, like I say, let them come into camp, as long as we don't see any holdout issues in camp or anything like that. But I think it would be risky to let Clowney play out the contract, see how he does, and then apply the franchise tag on him. I think that would be a dangerous situation, because you're going to have a lot of money then that you're going to have. I think you get a better deal if you try to make a play now. But what I'm also trying to figure out is what kind of leverage, because of course this is a business, no matter what kind of leverage are they trying to have on Clowney? And so what I'm thinking is he's waiting to see what happens with a Mac or a Donald, because these guys have had more productive years, and then he's going to try to use that to parlay that into a reason to give him a lower contract. That's what I'm thinking. I don't think they're going to make Clowney the highest paid guy this offseason. I think they're going to try to find a way to finagle that price down a little bit, and I think that's what they're waiting on. Okay, we're going to see what these guys get so we don't overpay, and then we're going to make this offer to Clowney and see what happens. That's what I'm guessing in my mind. Do I agree with that tactic? No, not necessarily. As a fan, I want to see, I want to see Clowney on the field. I want to see him be a Texan for life. But if you're looking at it from, like I say, the business side aspect of it, it might be the wiser move to make. But again, you're playing a dangerous game, because just in the same way we talk about, basketball and these players having egos, athletes have fragile egos. I mean, look at Kevin Durant trying to get into it with a fucking 17-year-old, that old bitch ass nigga. I wish a motherfucker would have to catch a square with me. But my thing is,
he fucking with 17-year-olds.
The 17-year-old, he mad at the dude. I'm trying to go into Instagram DM and talk shit about the dude. The dude just got his little channel. He just making his points about stuff. And Kevin Durant all on there trolling, and because he tagged him in it. Well, you wanted my attention, now you got it. Like, you big pussy. You know what I'm saying? You wow. Playing basketball, you ain't gonna never get your daddy back. Fuck you, nigga. Oh, bitch ass nigga. You need a male role model in your life. That's what he playing for. He trying to be Jesus Shuttleworth. You ain't gonna free whatever the fuck the situation is. But fuck that dude. Wow. Kevin Durant, he's pure bitch, dog. Like, I mean, he shows time and time again that he's a bitch made dude, and this is one of the highest paid, most adored, quote unquote, athlete, the number 2 basketball player in the world, and he's a bitch. He has a fragile ego. So that's why I tell y'all again, we talk about this all the time. Don't care if it's a celebrity. Don't care if it's an athlete, entertainer, actor, whatever position that he could be. Your mayor, could be a president, could be anybody. Motherfuckers who are in positions of power have fragile egos. Just because they're leaders in some aspect doesn't mean that, you know, they just got it all together. There's a weakness somewhere. Like you said, there's always a chink in the armor, and sometimes a lot of these guys is a lot easier to spot than not. But again, these egos and these personalities, like I say, Clown is, I'm sure he's a prideful man. He respects himself as a man, and he's going to want to get paid. He knows what he's able to bring to the table. He knows what his skill set is. I think a lot of that, what they, you know, a lot of people look at the numbers. Oh, he hasn't had the double digit sacks and this. Again, it's the situation, the scheme he's put into, because he's not always rushing. A lot of these other guys are purely rushing. You know what I'm saying? Not purely Russians, but all they're doing is pass rushing for the most part. You know what I'm saying? All they're doing is getting after the quarterback. Okay, it's plays where he's dropping, he's in coverage, and he's doing other things. He's providing you a versatile array of skill sets when these other guys can't give you that. So I think that hinders him, because those are missed opportunities. I mean, if all he had to do was rush the passer, trust me, his mind would he'd be in one mind state, and he'd be getting after it the whole time. All right, we got a call coming in on the sauce line. We're going to take this call, see who we got calling in here. Hold on. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling in on the sauce line this evening?
Hey, Honcho, it's Chandler. Here's the deal. I mean, over the last even though like the last few years of the Texans organization, we didn't even have a good O-line. We need to have someone who's like, you know, big and strong that can hold down the line. But we need an offensive line that can protect Watson. If we can protect Watson, we'll be fine. And then also, the thing is about the media, like for the Rockets, like they're saying like Colin Cowherd said that the Rockets championship is closing, and you know. See, the thing about the media, they just really hate us. So that's my question to you guys. Bye.
All right, bad. Man, appreciate you calling in, Chandler, as always. Look, when everybody else be afraid to motherfucking me call in, Chandler always hold down the sauce line. So I appreciate it, man. Like I say, Chandler, you know what I'm saying? It makes it all worthwhile. So I appreciate you calling in. A couple of points that he made, man, and that is something that we have to consider. That's something that is very necessary, is bolstering that O-line, because you have a very valuable asset in Deshaun Watson. And, I appreciate that, Voodoo. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have to do something eventually. Like I said, you can't go in and find a couple of backup. Now, if they pan out, if Kelemete pans out, if Fulton pans out as highly as people have him rated, cool, awesome, great. I'm not confident in Rankins. Again, going into the situation with an injury, I'm not sure if he's going to be healthy and ready for camp. If he is, cool, great. Davenport, I know I've had my reservations on, but I think that he'll pan. I think he just needs a couple of more games under his belt, in my opinion. But again, you know, like I said, good training camp. I don't know what he's been doing all off season. You know, he may come back bigger and better than ever, because I feel like he has that Dwayne Brown body type. I feel like he can develop into something, so I like him.
And I love the fact we still got Quisberry. I think we have a decent O-line, but I gotta see it on the field, man. And the best part about it would have been the interior. You get that interior, the shit was gonna part like the Red Sea for these boys, especially when it came to the running game. And that's my problem with shit, and why the fucking O-line has been the problem for the last 2 years, because the interior part of the O-lineman had too many breakdowns. You had two of your guards playing out of position. If you would have flip-flopped them, you would have seen the benefits of the pass and the rush game. But now, Bill O'Brien thinks he's the smartest dude in the room, and you got dudes like Mike Devlin as your fucking O-lineman coach, and he's produced nothing since he's got here. But he's still employed when you got rid of guys at other positions who didn't need to go, somehow think that Mike definitely deserves another year to coach these guys in this system, in this bullshit.
Okay. How you feeling
know,
about the
it
line
seems
situation?
like
It
seems like. I'm sorry, what you say, Honcho?
No, yeah, I was trying to get your opinion on the thing. My fault. I just keep interrupting you. You go ahead.
Oh, okay. It seems like I'm not the only one that's talking about the offensive line as well, too.
Okay. Well, now look, I got to cut you off real this time. Hold on one second. Let me. We're gonna take this call, but we're gonna hold that question. We're gonna come back to it. All right, who we got calling in on the sauce line this evening?
What's going on, Honcho? This is Dr. Rabbit.
Dr. Rabbit, what's the deal, baby? What's going down?
Here are my thoughts on them on the Texans releasing what's his name? Jeff Allen?
Jeff Allen, yeah.
I feel like he should stick to guard because when we saw him, like when I saw him play, what was it, left tackle at the Tennessee game?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Tennessee.
It feels like
Damn.
he should just stay at guard.
Yeah, I definitely could agree with you on that. The Tennessee, and I got some stuff to talk about Tennessee in just a second, man. But I definitely agree with you, man. Like that's part of the problem too with what I have with these Texans currently. Here, I'm gonna hang up on you, but I'm gonna talk about it. I appreciate you calling in, Dr. Rapp, because I think we missed another call and somebody else was trying to call in.
Yeah.
But I think that whoever that was that called, you can call back and I will get your call. Like I say, we keep your questions wrote down, so we make sure we're gonna answer and address all the questions. So don't feel left out. Don't think we're gonna skip you over. But I do agree with that, because the Texans are under this mind state of versatility. You realize that's been the key word of the offseason. And versatility is good, but again, like with the Honey Badger, like they said, having a home, knowing your position is even better. So you're confident in the aspect, okay, this is what I am, this is where I'm going to play. Not that, well, if everything fails, I need to know this too. Sometimes it can be too much thinking. Let's take this call real quick. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling on the sauce line?
What it is, Honcho? This is Donyala Messenger, bro.
What's the motherfucking deal, Donyala? What's going down?
Shit, you know I here in the Ace enjoying it, baby. Shit, I just want to say, man, I want to ask y'all the sauce, man. You know, last year, Bill O'Brien, bro, he had a whole bunch of questionable calls when he had Deshaun Watson now. So I was just basically asking, do you think this year he going to just go ahead and take the reins off of him and go ahead and let him do what he got to do and be the quarterback we need?
Okay. That's a good call. I'm going to hang up on you. We're going to talk about that. That's a good one. Yeah. I appreciate you calling in. Already. But, yeah, I'm going to let y'all answer that one real quick, and then we're going to get back to some of these other questions that we had missed up. So how do y'all feel about Bill O'Brien and some of the game management and some of the game decisions that he made? Do you feel like he realized what he has and he's going to evolve, or do you think he's still going to be of the similar mindset that he was last year?
I'll let Manna finish his little point, because he was still making his point.
Okay.
Now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and answer this guy's question if y'all don't mind.
Okay.
I'm gonna let that pass. But I think Bill O'Brien should let Watson play. Yeah, he was a rookie last year, so of course you want to try to see what he got, get him comfortable, get him a feel of everything, all the situations you possibly can. Get a feel of every situation, but as much as you can. Now you see what he can do. Now you see the excitement he brought to the city, you know, stuff like that, to the team and stuff like that. You see the momentum when he came on the field that he brought, the energy and stuff like that. Now I think you should let this man play. Yes, he's going to make mistakes. We all do. But let this man play. So you let this dude play, then you're going to say, okay, go into that film room, this is what you did, this is what you could do to make it better, or less of this, more of that, blah, 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 whatever the situation is. But I think you should cut the tie. Let this dude be him. He like I said before, this dude went toe-to-toe with some of the greats. Let him be him. And if you could do that, I really do think that we're going to have a better season coming up.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, he's been in his own way. He's been in the team's way for years. Like, I mean, the first year is the only year that he has where he gets to pass from to go from 2-14 to come back and bring a season and to damn near make the playoffs if a couple of games go our way. Like if the fucking if the Browns beat Baltimore, we in the playoffs and we go to the playoffs for 3 years straight. You know what I'm saying? And it's just that.
Okay, hold on.
Go ahead.
Take this call. We're going to cut you off. So hold that thought. We're gonna take this. Is gonna be the last call we're gonna take. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling on the sauce line this evening?
Hey man, what's up, Ed? This the real family, man.
What's going on?
First and foremost, I want to state that Ed Honcho is a simp, and that needs to be established. Man.
Look, Simpin' Ken. Look, Simpin' Ken. Hold on, Simpin' Ken. You know what I'm saying? Look, we ain't gonna get started with you. Look, good. Read a book, do a report, get a book. Now spit your motherfucking point, nigga, and let's see what you want to talk about. Goddamn.
Hey man, I just wanted to say, what would y'all consider a successful draft next year? Considering we do have first and second round picks next year.
All right, that's a bet.
I'm gonna let y'all answer it.
That's a bet. I appreciate you calling in with something sensible finally. Goddamn. Goddamn ATL family calling live from downtown Atlanta. I'm glad you took a break from whatever shenanigans you were up to make a sensible call. What do you guys see being a positive draft next year? Where do you see? And me personally, I kind of think at this point that I don't want to say it's a little bit early, but I'm thinking probably tackles. I'm thinking we're trying to go for a higher rated tackle. I honestly don't feel like Rankin's going to be that man. And I think we're going to be in that position.
Either. I never thought he was the man. Yeah. I feel honestly now I'm willing to go ahead and give up a little bit only to go after one specific player in the first round, and that's Ed Oliver. And he continues to do what he's doing at U of H this year, and he dominates and he takes them to a championship or something like that. He's going to be heavily touted, and he's the only person in the first round that I'm going to be scouting from now until for draft time. Yeah. Focus on, but we definitely got to see if it's some tackles. But who's to say what the tackle class is going to end up looking like? This year they claim it was pretty much a weak tackle class. Well, honestly, it wasn't a weak tackle class this year. It was a lot of quality players out here who could develop into better players, but it wasn't any household names with the exception of guys like and Will Hernandez and guys like Quentin Nelson. Guys like those were and two of the guys I just named were guards. You know what I'm saying? So the interior was a lot better this year, and there haven't really been any good tackle classes in the past few years, so that's why I'm saying with the CBA, this shit is fucking everything up, and we're not even talking about the college system and that Pac-12 bullshit. Like, you don't. It's almost to the point where you don't even want to get players from the Pac-12 because they got to go through that quarter system. They just now being able to go to graduate from college, do some work, and do this and do that, and they got to play catch up, So that's another thing that defeats these players, but we should be a hell of a lot better this season.
Okay. You got any thoughts on that, man up?
Did he drop off?
I'm trying to see.
Okay, sorry about that. I don't know what's going on. I'm having technical difficulties right now, but I'm back.
Already.
All right, I'm sorry. Can you go ahead? What was that question?
No, basically was asking, what now that we have first and second round picks next year, what is the move for the Texans? What position do we need to focus on?
Well, I'm gonna get off the offensive linemen right now.
Okay.
I'm gonna think we need to focus on DBs. If what we got doesn't pan out, that's a big if. Then I would kind of say linebackers as well too. Linebackers and defensive linemen. I do defensive linemen as well too. My personal opinion.
Okay. Now there's a couple other questions we kind of glanced over there. Some of the calls taken, so we're gonna go take no more calls. Y'all still want to text in while we live? We can still text in. Now I know did you get the chance to finish the Bill O'Brien thought?
So me personally, me?
Yeah. Did you get a chance to?
Yeah, I'm done with that because I just think Bill O'Brien needs to just let the reins go and let Watson be Watson.
Okay. And I think when you were speaking on that, Wink?
What'd you say now?
Or did you get a chance to finish your point on the Bill O'Brien and Deshaun Watson?
This man, Bill O'Brien, as long as he just shuts the fuck up, he stops making excuses and just puts the best fucking product on the field, we won't have no problems out of Bill O'Brien. I'm so sick of this. He wants this shit a certain way every year when your way don't work. Realize that your way does not work. Your type of, even coaches that you hire don't work. Majority of them, you know what I'm saying? And the majority. Let's just think of how many coaches. Your turnover for coaches are high every year. You fire at least 3 coaches every year. Ain't no question about it. And honestly, if goes and been like, yo, you got to get old boy up out of here. If it wasn't for him, because it's not like he fired him because he wanted to. This whole league is about nepotism. It's about who you know, where have we been together, what is, I'm going to ride for my homeboy, make sure he get paid so he can take care of his family, but not how it makes you look as a head coach, not winning games and not being championship caliber. And that's the problem that I got with him. It's so many problems I got with him, but I do love the fact that he's a player coach. I do love the fact that he takes up for his players and he takes the blame, but I'm sick of him blaming himself for situations that he puts us in. At the end of the day, he's in charge of who plays on the field, not no GM. No GM decides who plays on the football field.
Okay.
Not even Jerry Jones can do that.
Jerry Jones is the coach and the GM and the owner. Jerry Jones is everything.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably the only coach who could get away with saying, "Oh, he gonna fucking play." But at the end of the day, we all know he got pulled like that. You know what I'm saying? He ain't no Bill Belichick. You know what I'm saying? He want to be Bill Belichick so bad. I mean, he really does. He sit back and admire him, but like, he has to take consideration to not get cute. As long as he don't get cute, as long as he don't take the ball out of Watson's hands, and as long as he not playing dudes out of position, and he lets them get good at the positions that they need to be at first before you start all this versatility shit, then we'll be okay. Manage the game and take less responsibility off of you and trust your staff to make the right decision, because at the end of the day, you the one who hired them.
Okay. Now my thoughts on the Bill O'Brien, Deshaun Watson situation. At this point, I don't think that Bill O'Brien can contain Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson's going to ball no matter what. I mean, now that he has even a better understanding of things, I don't think there's that. I mean, other than Deshaun Watson going to go out there and he's going to take the reins. He's going to, like, I'm not even worried about Bill doing anything. You know what I'm saying? I'm just worried about Watson being Watson. And we're going to talk something about that just a second. We talked about the Jeff Allen being a guard. Yeah, that's ideally where he needs to be, having a home and not being, moving around, because, again, that versatility shit is killing me. Find players that are good at their position and let them stay there. Now, it was a question that we had missed and we get a chance to speak on real quick, and that was Chandler had asked, talking about the national media saying that the Rockets' windows are closing. Man, the national media, fuck the national media, because the national media is the same motherfuckers who said, oh, Chris Paul and James Harden can't play together, and they're going to win 50 games.
Exactly.
All this negative shit that they said, oh, the windows, as long as, again, if Chris Paul comes back and be healthy, if you got to understand that the Rockets were the most dominant team in the league in the regular season last year. So even if we're not adding pieces, other teams are making these pieces, making these moves to play catch-up. The only team that's not playing catch-up is the Warriors. That's the only thing we're worried about. So all these other – LeBron going to the Lakers, even more – and that was funny because Morey laughed about that shit. He couldn't really talk about gambling. But he laughed. He's like, Cowherd was like, you saw that they have the Lakers now having better odds than the Rockets for winning the championship. And he's like, how? I don't even understand how that makes sense, because it doesn't make any sense. It's media bias.
Didn't I say that a couple of days ago?
It's ridiculous. But again, if LeBron couldn't do it in the East, he's not going to do it in the West. I mean, it's simple as the eye test. You ain't even got to get into statistics. You ain't even got to get into analytics. If he couldn't do it in the East,
like this, he wasn't going to be able to do it if he wasn't on these 3 specific teams. I feel if he didn't get on the Spurs, the Rockets, or New Orleans, or he didn't join Golden State, there's no way he wins the West.
Yeah.
No way he wins the West with those teams. And honestly, without Boogie with Boogie being gone right now, I don't see any way he can do it. But I'm pretty sure he would be attracting everybody to come to New Orleans to come play with him and Anthony Davis right now, because that's a mean ass tandem in the league. Like, That's better than anything that Golden State can put together, and it's not going to take. And I can almost guarantee you, the Kevin Loves of the world, and the Jimmy Butlers, and the Carmelos, and everybody going to be lining up to go to New Orleans to go play with both of them.
Okay.
You know what? I'm gonna say this here. I agree with Honcho. Why is people paying attention to the national media? Because it's their job. It's their job to say negative and positive stuff about each and every team.
Right.
But just look at this here though, and I'm gonna end it on this. Oklahoma had Westbrook, Melo, and Paul George. There we go. Those are the ones that were supposed to come out the West. According to the national media, they were the ones who were supposed to come out the West. Now they can't even get out the first round.
Exactly.
Houston. Oh, I don't get how they gonna play together. They ball all this. Don't y'all think that James Harden, who recruited Chris Paul, don't you think James Harden knew, that Chris Paul is a point guard and point guard has ball in their hands a lot, blah, blah, blah. And don't you think that Chris Paul knew James Harden was playing point guard the season before? Don't you think they know this? And guess what? Went to the finals. And I'm going to leave it at that.
Exactly. That's what I say, man. You got to understand, most of the people who are in the media never stepped foot on a court, a field, they never got past the stands. You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of these opinions, a lot of it is just speculation. They don't understand certain intangible elements that go into what it happens to create a team, chemistry. They don't understand, just grit. They don't understand the heart. It's a lot of stuff. They just again, I can't really stand it. It bothers me. But again, if you want to listen to national media, you want to hear something, that's fine. But I tell you, man, fuck with independent sports media, even if it ain't the sauce, even if you ain't, fuck with Man Up Channel, fuck with Wink Channel, you know what I'm saying? But whatever it may be, listen to people who are actually paying attention to your teams instead of people who have to cover an entire league and say a bunch of shit about an entire league, because they really don't pay attention. They get whatever paper is handed to them that somebody else, they have a producer, they have an assistant, they have a research assistant that goes and gets whatever information that's already biased so they can, spit whatever they don't watch all the games. They don't it's physically impossible for them to do so. So again, they just give them an agenda and that's what they promote.
And they regurgitate everything that all sports writers. It's like when you listen to ESPN and shit like that, everybody, even the NFL Network to a fault, they just saying the same shit over and over. And nothing is worse than knowing that you got a computer in front of you and people still be getting stats wrong, people still be getting this wrong. Like, how the fuck do you got a computer in front of you and still, like, nothing irks me more than you having a computer in front of you where you can clearly check some shit, you can backcheck some shit right then, but yet and still you make yourself look stupid by teams who are really paying attention. And considering the fact that our sports franchise in terms of the Texans hasn't been around long, and I know, it's a few players, that really got people paying attention to the Texans, and people want to credit J.J. Watt all of this success, but let's just keep it real. Like, there were people here who were successful before him. There were going to be people who were here after them. This isn't even about J.J. Watt, but it's just to go along that certain players get all the credit for sports franchises being relevant, and it's unfortunate. And what helps them is the fan bases. I seen somebody today saying, I haven't been, I started being a fan in 2010, like 2010. I mean, I guess, some people, it takes them a little longer to get around to the curve or whatever, but it's just like, I don't know, man. It's like these people's brains get warped and they believe everything that these guys say is gospel, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah. But here's the deal. We finna wind it down here because I'm gonna have to jump in the den in just a few. But I have one more text on here, and I want y'all to give it a one-word answer. Now, shout out to Voodoo Child, and I'll answer last, so I'll let you man up and Wink answer it first. So he says, so here's the question. If we pay Clowney like y'all want, will you and Wink in particular hold it against Game if Clowney happens to turn into Watt 2.0? And by that saying by saying the injuries.
I think it's reversed for him. I think he had his injuries early on, and now he knows how to stay healthy. And because he's a different type of athlete than J.J. Watt, so I don't rephrase that question and ask me that question again because I want to be able to give it.
But what I'm saying, so if it was to happen though, but we're saying we're doing a hypothetical. So if he gets paid like when Watt got paid, and then there's been a series of injuries, shortening his season ever since, do you hold that against Game?
No, I don't hold it against Brian Game. No, because he did what he was supposed to do with what he's doing right now. You can't talk about the future. I mean, that's just how I'm looking at it. So, I mean, I don't even know what word I could say to describe that situation. Of course, I mean, it depends. For one, it depends on what we signed him at, and two, had he thrown out a number, had he said like we paid Jadeveon Clowney $120 million, and this situation happened, then of course I would be pissed. But who could predict that? Nobody could.
Me, I'm gonna say no. Now I know you said one word answer, but let me just say this here.
Okay.
Football is a highly, highly contact sport.
Yeah.
There has been people that have been paralyzed and died on the football field. You cannot sit here and say because he's injured, you're gonna blame the general manager for giving him all that money. You cannot do that. Because you pay a man for what he's done before and what you think he's going to do in the future. That's what you pay people for in all sports. So you cannot blame the general manager for paying this man for producing like crazy. And then
if he would have asked me if he would have asked me some shit like if he would have to extend Kareem Jackson, okay, then yeah, we got a real fucking problem. Yeah, agitation. You know what I'm saying? Sleep deprivation. How about that word? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the type of shit that'll keep me up at night as a sports fan. You know what I'm saying? When you're doing silly shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Extending players like that. Haven't really, they've contributed in a few games against specific quarterbacks. Good quarterbacks here and there, but let's just be honest. We know they're not equipped to go against guys like that, and that's why guys like Kareem Jackson get picked on in games. They know they can pick on Kareem. They know he ain't got the speed. They know he ain't got the size. They know he can't close. They know unless if you in front of him, they know he ain't going to be able to react on a timely basis. So why are you keeping a player like that around? And why is he not cut right now regardless of him moving to safety?
All right. Well, here's the deal. Let's say we're finna wrap it up. We finna call this shit a wrap. And Zachary, no, only if you got DW as your forward. That's not the only reason I listen to you. I see you saying that Watt is the football T-Mac, and that's a sad comparison. But
yes,
like I say, we finna call it a wrap, man. I'm finna be in the Kush Den here shortly. We're gonna be talking about becoming a better you. So we're gonna have some positivity. We've been talking a lot of shit all week, so we're gonna have some positivity in the Kush Den this evening. Appreciate everybody following through. Anything y'all want to say before we get up out of here?
I got something I want to say real quick.
Right.
I was finna do a video with that same title. but anyway, now I just want to say I thank everybody for tuning in. You know what I'm saying? I thank Wink. I've been wanting to do a video with him for a while now. We finally did something. We got to do this again, brother. One day soon.
Oh, man, it's no problem, man. I already hit you up in the chat, man. I already sent you a message. You know what I'm saying? So whenever you want to link up with me, you got it. Honcho had sent me the information earlier and let me know you wanted to get on the show. I appreciate that you thought of me and that you wanted me to have you on the show that ain't even had nothing to do with me tonight, because I know this was probably going to be Rockets Talk or something like that, and I was out with my family. Honcho hit me up and was like, man, yeah, because I know you've been waiting a minute, so it wasn't no problem for me. It ain't going to be no problem in the future.
All right, then, man.
Okay. Yeah, you got anything you want to say, Wink?
Oh, as usual, y'all keep supporting the sauce, man. Share these videos because we need y'all help. We trying to really get rid of these fucking sports, these mainstream outlets, because they don't do shit but lie. They put out the wrong information, and why y'all have to put yourselves through that? We say like, help us help you.
Exactly.
We giving y'all real shit that y'all been wanting to talk about, and y'all get to interact with those on a consistent basis and don't have to be on hold. Everybody in here got a chance to call in and come talk to Honcho, talk to me, talk to Wise, talk to Braylon, talk to Ray Ray when he's on. Tenny, Hector. You know, we understand it's just the chosen few, you know, and only thing I'll say is, man, when certain people call in, man, if you don't know, man, certain people got, you know, little issues, and don't be making fun of people like that.
That's all. Banned with the quickness. Look, it's all about respect.
That shit ain't cool.
Yes, yes. Oh, correct. I seen that in the chat.
Exactly. It's all about respect. As long as you respectful here.
I'm gonna get up out of here. I'll talk to y'all later.
All right, that's a bet, man. But like I said, yeah, that's the one thing, man. Respect. Even if you're a fan of another team, as long as you come in here respectfully, man, we're gonna respect you. You can talk a little shit, you know what I'm saying? But as long as you stay on par, right, you already know we're not gonna get out of line with you. But if you start talking crazy, that's your ass, Mr. Postman. And with that being said, man, Kush Day at 9 o'clock. We're going to chunk up a deuce. Y'all be cool like y'all be cool. I appreciate y'all fucking with the flavor, man. And like I say, we'll be back at it. Mañana. We'll probably do a Saturday sauce. We'll come up with something. We'll see what's shaking. There'll better be some news and some other things that we didn't get to cover today. So with that being said, though, we chunking up a deuce. We out. I'll catch y'all in a few minutes in the Kush Den. I appreciate y'all. Y'all be cool like y'all be cool and stay saucy.